ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
I would ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that.
Half the stuff before they do what I call nastiness forums.
I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Thieves or possesses weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al Qaeda.
Handle the truth.
I remember that which matters most! We are still here!
We have to say yes to socialism.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
It is indeed a big club, and you, sir, probably, sir, let's be honest, you're not a woman listening to this. You indeed are not in it. Welcome back to the least comfortable show on the web. It is The System Is Down, where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, religion, and everything that's fucking happening in the entire world right now. This is the place where you come to get your all right, kill the music. The ADHD cannot handle it. It can only handle so much. Hi, I'm Dan of The System Is Down. This is where you come to discuss things civilly, kind of semi-civilly. We used to be a little bit more civil, but as things get crazier and crazier and people get angrier and angrier, it is harder and harder to remain civil. First off, Travis isn't here. I've got a very special guest for you guys. You can probably guess who it is, but we're not going to introduce him yet because before we do that, I have to remind you about you, our main sponsors in the Downers Club, and the export sometimes doesn't work. So there's no names here because I just re-exported this today and there's no names. There are two new people in the Downers Club though, and I know who they are. Van Zott Media is a new sponsor and Stefan Hartman is a new sponsor. If you want to get your name on that list that sometimes works and isn't working today, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemisdown, and you'll get the bonus show, the after parties, the movie and TV reviews, all the fun stuff, more weird, more raw, more offensive, more weekly content in the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemisdown. I swear, there's more than two people that support this show. I could pretend like I remember some of them, like Jack Casey is one, and John Odermatt's one, Remzo Martinez is one. People do support this show. That list is supposed to be longer. Anyway, welcome. Of course, our wonderful guest, our fill-in co-host, as always, when he does. And all my buttons are in the wrong order. This is off to a great start. The man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Dave Casey. Dave, how are you doing?
What's up?
Dave
I'm
Casey.
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
My deceptively elderly, older alter ego. How's it going, man? How have you been?
It's going good, man. I'm chilling. You're looking very dapper, Dan.
Thank you, sir. I've been.
I'm keeping it cash.
Yeah, I've been going for the dapper look more because Biden put out this thing. I guess it wasn't Biden, but there was this thing going around where they were making this army of influencers, and you had to have like 5,000 YouTube subscribers in order to get on this list. So I just need like 500 more, and and then I can be on their army of influencers and push vaccines on children. So that's my goal here, is to look as professional as possible so that they like me and accept me into the army. But Dave, have you heard anything in the news?
I wish you Godspeed on that.
You're all delayed. You're all sorts of delayed. If you need to leave and come back, you can. I don't know what the deal is, man. This thing.
Should I do it?
Yeah, go ahead and jump out and jump back in, and we'll see if that helps. If not, we'll make do. But Yeah, anyway, this is a news episode where we find things that are happening in the world. We read them a lot of times for the first time ever, and then we roast them and laugh about them and watch the world burn together and have a good old jolly time. Dave, are you with us? Guest is in the green room. I cannot hear him. Dave, Sir Dave, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Are we
good?
totally delayed still?
Are we good? Maybe.
I feel good. I feel good about it. So far, so good.
We're delayed. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Dave, just jump in wherever, and we'll just talk over each other the entire time, because that's what libertarian podcasting is all about: audio glitches, technical problems, and talking over each other about shit in the world, in the news. So Dave, before we jump into some news articles, do you have anything that you think is relevant to talk about? It's been a pretty slow news week for the most part. Nothing major happening, nothing going on, but
yeah.
Anything cross your neck of the woods?
Nothing. No 2-decade-long limited skirmishes or coming to a close of any type. No.
Hypothetically, and hypothetically coming to a close. Are you buying it?
Well, I think that Joe Biden is the guy that will say whatever it takes to whoever audience needs to hear whatever, because that's what he does. And he gets to play the role of the concerned guy right now. That's probably, I mean, they got to shift resources, man.
Yeah.
And
we don't have to get too deep into it yet. I've got some articles pulled up here for later on, but we're definitely going to talk about Afghanistan. I am just curious if you think that what is the likelihood that every single U.S. troop is out of Afghanistan by September 11th?
Oh, no, we don't ever fully leave.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't sound like that makes much sense.
Yeah, no, not financial sense. But yeah, I posted something the other day on Twitter that even got my wife annoyed at me. Did you see the McAfee one?
No.
I posted, if we have every U.S. troop out of Afghanistan by 9/11, I will eat John McAfee's dick. So for those that don't know, which I'm normally not one to make like a bunch of sexual jokes, really. But when it's too good to not, I just couldn't help myself. But for those that didn't understand that and thought I was just being crude for crudeness sake, no, John McAfee had a Bitcoin thing, right, where he said if it doesn't get to 1 million by X date, then I will eat my own dick. So I couldn't not, man. It was just too good. Came to me. God gave me that joke, and I stand by it.
Go with it, dude.
That's right. So we got some people in the chat. We might read some of them. So if you are watching this on, I don't know, Facebook or something, go over to YouTube. I know I hate promoting YouTube, but that is the place where I have this set up to read the chats right now. So feel free to drop a chat. We do not have super chats because unlike some other quote-unquote conspiracy libertarian podcasts and stuff, I'm not allowed to monetize this thing because I got too based too quickly before anybody even knew who I was. But,
wow. Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, it was like
shit, man.
It was like Sandy Hook stuff and Pizzagate stuff.
If you're gonna keep it legit, man, it's destined to happen. So now you're freed of all that stuff, and it doesn't have to sound like Las Vegas in here.
That is true. So yeah, David Hines says warm up for Timcast. Yeah, cool. Is that what you're doing, or is that what I'm doing? Am I going on Timcast tonight, and this is my warm-up?
Dave Smith and Mike Heiss are going on Timcast.
Is that tonight?
Friday, I think.
Friday.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, Mises Caucus, mount up for that. Get in the chat.
I will be there for that. I thought it was Friday. I couldn't remember, but cool. Nice. So, yeah, we got to start out with some things that aren't Afghanistan first. We will definitely get there, but first we got to talk about some really, really important stuff here. Did you hear about Muzzle Lady, Dave?
Muzzle Lady.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's probably for the best.
And I knew I was coming here, so I was looking for weird shit.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't find a whole lot today, but that's fine because I wanted to keep this a fairly concise episode. I believe Shane Hazel is coming on the show later tonight, and we're going to dig into Afghanistan stuff and psyops and things even more deeply. So we'll probably brush the surface of some things today, but if you guys want some deeper inside baseball knowledge of a guy who, lived it out in the Marines, come check that out tonight because Shane's an awesome dude. But first up is Muzzle Lady. from CNN.com, so you know it's legit. Maybe I should give you a camera here, Dave. 1 second. Dave, there you are. Okay. So from CNN.com, so you know it's legit, Tennessee's former vaccine manager said she was sent a dog muzzle before she was fired. So this is old. This is from back in July 15th, but I'm bringing this up because it didn't really make the rounds that much then. I didn't come across my radar at the time, so we have to give you the backstory so I can give you the fun update. What do you think the fun update is, Dave? Any guesses?
Did she refuses to wear the muzzle?
No, we'll get there. Anyway, we'll watch this first. This is from back in July when this lady was sent a muzzle.
Joining us now is Dr. Michelle Fiscus. Until Monday, when she was fired, Dr. Fiscus was the Tennessee government's top vaccine official. She lost her job, it appears, for simply doing her job. She joins us now. Dr. Fiscus, appreciate you being with us. I understand. So just last week, before you were fired, you received a disturbing Amazon package at your office. What was in it, and what did you think when you received it?
Hi, Anderson. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, the week before I was terminated from the Department of Health, I received a package that contained a dog muzzle. At first, I thought that was a joke and contacted a few friends. And then when no one claimed it, realized that that was something that was sent to me as some kind of a message, I suppose.
I understand. I think it was your husband who said, or you said something to your husband that he recounted. What was it you said?
I said that they obviously didn't know me because they sent me a size 3, which is for beagles, and I'm obviously a pit bull, which requires a size 6.
So just...
Oh, she's so brave. She's
it's a big
pit bull of a woman.
It's a big bitch.
I think she's insulting herself, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm more of a pit bull type of gal.
People haven't been following what happened to you. It's really extraordinary. I read your account of it, and what you say essentially is that you sent out a directive to other health officials in the state, which was just restating what procedure was and what the law was in the state of Tennessee, a law for some 30 years that was backed by the state Supreme Court about
land the plane.
under the age of 18 being able to get medical treatment without parents' consent in some cases. And that became politicized and spun by politicians in this.
My God, this is the longest question ever. Basically, if you haven't figured it out, this lady was sent out, this memo enforcing some mass bullshit, and she was sent a muzzle before she got fired. Now, does this feel Jussie Smollett-ish to you, Dave, at all?
What did she get fired for? She because she's the victim and she wants CNN's help. So I want to know.
Yeah, that's a great question. And if I was a journalist, I would have the answer, but CNN probably doesn't either.
So these parents are making a big deal that you said that kids could come in here and get vaccinated
right,
if they
right,
felt like. Right.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, so, she was, I don't know exactly what she was fired for, and I'm sure it's in here somewhere. I don't really care because it doesn't matter because as of yesterday, what's today? 2 days ago, Tennessee this is from CNN.com, so it's super legit, as we will prove. Tennessee investigators determined dog muzzle sent to former state vaccine manager was ordered with her own credit card.
You dumb bitch.
Now, this isn't quite Jussie Smollett territory because his was so incredibly outlandish that, as Dave Chappelle...
I like how she said about they had known about anything about me. They would have sent a big
they would know I'm a pit bull. I'm a pit bull who sends herself the wrong size of muzzle.
Right.
She didn't even get it right. She was insulting herself for not knowing that she's fatter than she is, I suppose.
Oh, what a loser.
But it's just it's another scam to frame all these anti-vaxxers as crazy nut jobs who are sending hateful stuff in the mail. And why a muzzle? That seems like such a strange choice.
I hope she got a GoFundMe up for a couple days first. I hope she got a couple $100,000 out of that.
You know what probably happened? She probably didn't even go out of the way to order a muzzle to prove a point. She probably ordered a muzzle for her dog, and it came, and then she was like, I can use this. This came in the mail for me.
Terrorists sent me this. Yeah, extremists sent me a muzzle.
This is clearly a threat, and the cops will definitely not look into it in any way and realize very quickly that it was sent to me by me on Amazon. So I'm glad you got your wish list. But
oh boy,
yeah. Dave, any other thoughts on that? I just thought it was a fun, good tickle of an opener to start out with.
Man, that's great. No, it's beautiful. I love the twist ending too, because even after, it is totally Smollett, but I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's like, even given the fact that it was almost nothing to begin with, it was still fake. Like, it was barely a threat. It was barely, like, even if she was sent this and everything she said is true, it was almost nothing. It was barely a story. She got a muzzle in the mail.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
It's not a terroristic threat. It's pretty funny. It's not even, it doesn't even break the nap. It's funny.
Exactly.
Sent this bitch a muzzle. Put the muzzle on.
Yep.
It's fun.
Nice. So moving on, from theguardian.com, so it's legit. Good news. We usually start out with the good news. A vocal group got its way in Florida, involving masks. Do you know what way they got? Do you know what they got?
Did they get to take the fucking mask off? Is that the way that they wanted? I hope that's the way they wanted.
A vocal group in Florida got its way. Parents condemn schools' lack of mask mandates.
Oh,
Florida.
Lack. Oh my God.
They condemned the lack of mask mandates. Now, I am curious, like, do these schools still offer, like, online options? Because if there are people who are so paranoid that they're like, my kid can't be around people who aren't wearing masks, shouldn't they be keeping their kid home?
Oh man, that's not enough, obviously, for these people. I said to somebody the other day, I was in the presence of 3 people. 2 of them I knew, and one was their sister, who I didn't really know terribly too well.
Yeah.
And I said, I saw that my state said, doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not, if you're in school, you're wearing a mask. And I was like, that's fucking child abuse. And she's like, well, I'm on the other side of that. I'm like, you have kids? She's like, yeah, a couple of, like, I'm like, it's this, dude, I'm sorry.
What wouldn't you do? Like, if the government told you to do something to your kid for their health or whatever, is there a line that you wouldn't cross? Because sure, masks, you can scoff at it. They're harmless, whatever. They're not. They might not be that harmful on surface level, but they're not harmless, and you can't make that argument. And but I am curious if you would do that, knowing, like, if you do any research at all, you can find out just how effective they are. And if you were a caring parent, of course, you would be looking into that, right? And once you realized that they're not effective, maybe you're just doing it for show or for theater, as Rand Paul put it. But is there a line that you wouldn't cross if the government said, it's taboo to not do a thing, so you have to do it to your child? What wouldn't you do? I don't know. Let me know. Yeah. I know you're not listening to this show, but because you're otherwise you would be smarter than this by now. But if you are, let me know. Anyway, in Pinellas County, Florida, I thought Florida was supposed to be better than this.
Yes,
I guess not. It's a bunch of old people that are like, stop saving us, please. And a bunch of Karens who are like, stop trying to save my child from me. But in Pinellas County, Florida, Maggie, a mother of 3, is sending her kids to school every day with 2 or 3 extra masks, even if in her 4th grader's class, only a third of the children are wearing them. So you, as her child, have to bring 3 or 4 masks to school every single day, just in case you touch it with your hand or something, even though you are the only one doing it. That's
kids are booger factories, bro.
Right.
There's stuff. There's going to be, I don't care how many masks you have. It's crazy to think. I asked this the same lady the other day. I'm like, so let me ask you a question. You're in a place and you have to sneeze. I was like, do you sneeze right into that mask? She's like, well, you're supposed to. So like, yeah, I would put my mask into my arm and sneeze. I'm like, well, that is double protection. So then you just have boogers all over your
covered in
walking
shit.
around like that. Oh my God.
That's cool now. I mean, of course, you'd be a hypocrite if you didn't sneeze into your mask, because that is literally what the mask is there to prevent from happening. So,
so many droplets, bro.
Yeah.
So many droplets.
That's right. The Mecca droplets. But this is a quote, based on my kids' school and the number of parents that have chosen to not mask their kids, it looks like we're in the minority, said Maggie. Good. There is still hope for Florida and children at large. Who asked to be identified by just their first name. I think the voices who are very anti-mask are very loud. Yes, because it's child abuse, and that's a good reason to be loud.
Yes.
Despite recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention stating that K through 12 students should wear masks, again, like we're back to this for some reason. I thought we were past this. Now it's back. We're all just pretending like this has not stopped. It has. Like Joe Biden said, no masks if you've been vaccinated indoors. Sure, that's still too far of a line, but he said it to everyone. We all heard it. Let's stop pretending like we didn't. And but they're like, oh yeah, the CDC says this again. So that's what we're doing now.
That's incredible.
Yeah. For in-person learning, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican, signed an executive order on the 30th of July that bars school districts from putting mask mandates in place, even though children under 12 cannot yet receive a vaccine. This has left some Florida parents making difficult individual decisions to have their children wear masks, often going up against the political and social norms of their schools and communities. DeSantis. Feel free to interrupt at any point if you have something to say. Sure. There, Dave. DeSantis issued his order as the Delta variant of the coronavirus, a highly transmissible version of the virus, we assume should be put in there, obviously. Is it true that they don't have a way of knowing whether you have the OG corona or the new hot corona?
I believe that's true. And it is fairly new information that the CDC put out that their particular test that they were using, now they admit they could not tell the difference between the flu and the coronavirus. So if you're looking for what happened to the flu rates in 2020, they
went away because of the masks, bro. The masks stopped the flu, and we just got a bunch of COVID instead.
Those are very different droplets.
Yep. COVID's got the biggest droplets, the best droplets. Fantastic. Yes. Lost my spot here. In Florida, pediatric cases of COVID-19 are soaring, and new cases overall are reaching all-time highs in a state where about 60% of the population has received at least one dose of the vaccine. After more than a year of highly politicized debate over COVID-19 intervention, this past week, the CDC reported an average of more than 20,000 daily cases of COVID in the southern state. Blah, 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 blah. They're going to make your kids wear masks, and they're going to tell you all the different ways of looking at that isn't child abuse, and that definitely isn't mandating things and forcing things on people. Now, somewhat related to this, in our forum this morning, which if you're not in, don't tell Facebook it's there because they don't know yet. They kicked us off our old forum. They kicked out the old page. We do have a secret forum. Just look up TSID is down forum. In there, you can talk to me and Dave and other people. Travis is in there. Everybody's in there. It's the hangout for better and or worse. But in there this morning, John Schweppe, who has been on the show several times, many times, friend of mine from high school. He works out in D.C. now. He posted a thing, and I asked him if he would translate that into video so that we could share it here and discuss it. And here's what happened to him and his wife just yesterday. So we'll watch this.
So our baby Blaze is about 14 and a half weeks old, and you're supposed to take the rotavirus vaccine before 15 weeks. I guess there's some side effects or something after that. And that's not just me talking, that's like the CDC or whomever recommends the schedule. So there was some urgency in getting this if we wanted to get it, and we did. So we went to our provider, our normal provider, and they were out. And we went to the public health department, and they were out. So there must be like a rotavirus vaccine shortage. And we finally found a practice that had some. So we scheduled an appointment, and my wife went this morning. to get it. And, they make you fill out everything. They wanted to see Blaze's immunization record. And up to this point, we've given him 1 or maybe I think 2 vaccines total. As I explained in the chat, like, we aren't anti-vaxxers. We just like the idea of spacing them out. Not doing more than 1 in one sitting, because you lower the risk of like a fever or some other event that could cause issues. So that's kind of our approach with it. We still intend to fully vaccinate our kids on almost everything on the schedule by like kindergarten. But this is a delayed thing. It's something that a lot of people do. I know it's called anti-vax, but we don't really see it that way. We are pro-vaccine.
So the point he's made so far, not scared of vax. Not scared of it, okay? Mm-hmm. That's really all he said in the last minute and a half. Sorry, John, this is a little long-winded, but we're getting there. We're getting to the story. Here we go.
So anyway, the doctor, the nurse practitioner or whomever they were, told my wife, well, let me talk to the doctor about that. And then she came back in a couple minutes and said the doctor would not see us because they don't deal with the anti-vax stuff, and pushed really hard for, basically for them to leave. My wife did get them to give the rotavirus vaccine at least. So there wasn't a total refusal of service, but they basically said like, yeah, we're not going to allow you to be here. And that's the gist of the story. Like, we still are at our provider and all that. But they are very militant about these vaccines, especially out here in Northern Virginia. And any deviation from the dictates of the CDC makes you an anti-vaxxer, makes you a deplorable, I suppose. Even things like the MMR, like, I don't know. I don't really buy into a lot of the vaccines cause autism stuff. I'm skeptical, but I'm also skeptical of, some of our expert class. And so, with the MMR, like, we decided with Pius, let's give it to him when he turns 3. Why not? You get the best of both worlds. You protect him from measles, mumps, and rubella, and then you also, avoid any issues of giving it to him too young, which may or may not cause problems. So that's kind of been our approach. I'm really happy with it. I do think, where I disagree with some of my anti-vax friends, like, I do think
he's talking about us. That's us he's talking about. I do disagree with some of my anti-vax friends. You know who you are, person I'm sending this video to.
Things are generally good. I think it's important that the population takes them. But, I guess I'm more anti-vax. That's kind of where I am now.
So there's that. People are being turned away. Pretending like this is all for you. This is all for your health and your good, and because your government cares about you so much that they need to protect you. Meanwhile, what happened to like universal health care for all? That we went from universal health care for all overnight to if you're not already healthy or you haven't already taken these health steps, we're not going to help you at all. Like, this is the complete opposite, and you have the same people cheering that on. Dave, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that made me sad, obviously, for his situation. I would just implore your boy to, like, maybe listen to you and me and people like us a little bit more, only because I feel like he's like on the verge. Like, he understands now. He's been like, he faced the demon a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, he sees, but it's like, we need you on the team, man.
Right.
John, we need you, and obviously he should do whatever he feels like is best for his family and for his kids. But when you see choice, like, evaporating, when you see, like, the same crowd that was pushing for healthcare is a human right, now saying, do not provide medical care for unvaccinated people.
Right.
That we're like really close to that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that worries me, because there's not a whole lot of, it's not like a sliding scale. It's like two sides. So be on our team, John.
Yeah. And I've tried. He's a lost cause. He's a Trumper. No, John's a cool guy, and I respect him a lot. But yeah, you know that I'm crazier than you on this stuff. But yeah, even if somebody like I don't know, like people like us, I don't think that we should look at people like that as like you're ill-informed or whatever. He might be way more informed than us and have come to different conclusions. But all that really matters is we're not forcing people to do anything medically that is harmful to them. But we live in a different time now. We live in a time where the first rule is not do no harm. The first rule is get the vaccine because you're killing grandma, even if the vaccine harms you. Now, have you kept up on the situation over there in New York City, Dave?
Yes. It's awful.
Oh, someone gave us a thumbs down. Bummer. Anyway,
oh, that is awful.
It's crushing. Getting ratioed over here, but
I'll try harder.
Yeah, Dave. Dave, what do you see happening in New York City? Have you heard about the complete of the thing that would never happen? The vaccine passports that only crazy conspiracy theorists believe in, because there's no way our country would ever go there, and you're a retard if you think that anybody in this country would ever implore vaccine passports. Dave, you know anything about that?
Dude, Alex Jones was right. Obviously, we all owe him a big apology because just there's been no one better on this crap for 20 years. So yeah, nobody should be shocked. And it should be apparent, like if you know the nature of the state, that this is just so good for business, really, for them, what they really ultimately want. And this is extremely racist in nature. This will keep out all the unsavories that these elites want, just away. So I think it'll drive people away. And that's great. You should leave the city immediately if you're in California or New York.
Yeah.
Now you say now because it'll probably get worse and
racist. You say it's racist. I've talked about that a little bit and what I think that means, but can you dig into that a bit more and see if we agree on that?
I think that it's pretty clear that vaccination rates amongst Black people are a whole lot lower than they expected. That's why when you see stuff come out of Department of Health, they're always using Black and brown people to advertise, like, you need to go do this.
Yeah.
Get in their face and that Run DMC ad. Run DMC did a vaccine rap at the beginning of this shit. It was fucking dope. Pathetic, and that group should be ashamed of themselves. Like, this fucking setting the streets on fire. You got the vaccine. I got the oh my god. Should have any fucking awards that you ever got stripped away from you. But this is obvious. Like good ideas don't require like lotteries. Like win $100 or win $30,000 or listen to this rap song. It doesn't require that. And they're spending lots of money to propagandize the people. But the rates are down because you know what? Black people especially have had a historically shitty relationship with the federal government since its inception.
Yeah.
So rightfully, you know what I mean? I imagine that they're just not trusting that, which is great because I think they're healthier for it by and large. But yeah, that's going to prevent them from doing things like going to the gym, going to, whatever, hopefully not, but the grocery store or whatever else. I don't know what this is going to look like.
Yeah. And you say good ideas should not require, I don't know if you said force, but that's the phrase. Good ideas should not require force. But the problem is they're not forcing us, Dave. They're not like shutting down all the businesses and saying that we can't go to them if we don't get the vaccine passport. Obviously, nobody would ever do that because that would be a crazy thing to do. But from reasonmagazine.com or reason.com, so it's super legit. I don't have a sound effect for that. Let me see. So it's super legit. New York City adopts vaccine passports. So we're there. Like the thing that Alex Jones has been probably saying for 20 years, and we've been saying at least for a year or so. New York City's there. New York City is just chop it off and let it go. Mayor Bill de Blasio's Key to New York City initiative. I love that name. It's the Key to New York City initiative. like such a happy sounding thing. You get access to everything in the entire city as long as you are an experimental guinea pig.
It's like that pass that you pay extra for at Disney World to like get to the front of the line. Do you want to experience it like, like no other?
Right.
Oh,
the fast pass.
Would you like your freedom back?
Right. So the initiative will require people to get their shots in order to enter the city's bars, restaurants, gyms, and other indoor venues. And I would say if you are a, like, I don't know, like a musician or a comedian or somebody who performs in New York City a lot, now is a good time to boycott, because if you support this, you are supporting, I don't know, is it treason? Is it treason to say that, the government should not be, is it treason to force people to do medical practices on themselves in America if they choose not to, in order for them to go about their business? Is treason too hard of a word there, Dave?
It's definitely fascist.
Yeah.
It's definitely fascist. I don't know if it's anti-American.
Yeah.
If that even is like a term we can throw out there.
It's against
treason's pretty
it's against
specific.
the people of this country. So I don't know. Whatever. But
maybe, dude. If we can run with it legally, we should.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm down to lob whatever bombs we want. And, by that I mean metaphorical bombs, but so far. But that goes back to the racism stuff too. I saw what's his name, Clint, I believe, from Liberty Lockdown, saying like we shouldn't be saying that these passports are racist, because that's just playing their game and that's just bringing up the woke shit and keeping that alive. It's like, yeah, but whatever works, like whatever stops this thing. I'm not happy that Cuomo got removed or had to resign because he grabbed a boob rather than killing, because of killing 15,000 people or whatever he did. I would much prefer that he be locked up forever because of what he did to the elderly and how he handled that. But if we can get him out of office, like one step, just give us one step. If we have to call vaccine passports racist to make them leave, I don't care. Call the whole damn thing racist. Call COVID racist. Maybe that'll make it go away.
Yeah, and it's not like we're not playing their game. Like their game is doublespeak. So they talk about equality and equity and looking out for everybody while they do fascism, while they do racism. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're actually enacting the policies
that
are fascist in nature and have racist outcomes. So yeah, we should call that out.
Absolutely. And the racism thing, like it was a year ago that driver's licenses were or voter ID was a racist thing, to insist that people have a voter ID to go vote, which is just a thing that we do once, maybe every 4 years if we're feeling like it. For most people, it's racist if you can't do that because you didn't know how to go get an ID. However, if you are a minority person who doesn't want to get a vaccine, based off of, the history of the United States experimenting on black people first with vaccines. Biden said it himself in his town hall address. But if these people don't trust the government to give them vaccines, I said these people, that's probably not the best word choice. If minority folks don't want to get a vaccine because they don't trust the government, now they're not allowed to go to Walmart, not just going to vote.
Right.
And then the long pause, wait for Dave to talk. Yes. This isn't the most swift episode we've done, but we'll deal with our delays. I'll read this. America is getting its first real vaccine passports on Tuesday. Keep in mind, this is coming from Reason magazine, so it's legit. It's super libertarian and nothing stupid are they going to say. On Tuesday, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announced that soon proof of vaccination will be required to enjoy the city's bars, restaurants, gyms, and concert venues. We know that strong, clear mandates help, said de Blasio during a press conference announcing his Key to New York City initiative. If you're vaccinated, you have the key. You can open the door. If you're unvaccinated, unfortunately, you'll not be allowed to participate in many things. Probably anything. The new rules apply to customers and workers alike. The mayor's policy goes far beyond the city's vaccination efforts thus far, which have been limited to positive incentives like a $100 reward for getting vaccinated, a more targeted vaccine requirements amid aimed at healthcare workers in New York City government hires. Now, so far, Dave, is this the libertarian, I don't know, response to straight up vaccine passports? They're saying all the things that are happening, and they're just saying them as, oh, this is what's happening, just reporting on the news. Do you expect more out of them?
No, this is exactly what I expect out of Reason Magazine. And I just was listening to Dave and Michael Malice talk a little bit about this. And really, man, yeah, this institution and Cato, oftentimes it's not even like, it sucks that they're the like authority. When people who aren't libertarian think about a libertarian thing, they go to Reason or they go to Cato. And that's so unfortunate. And the conspiracy theorist in me, you know, we could really tackle that one. But yeah, they do a disservice to our movement most times.
Right. Absolutely. And we are going to talk about Cato as well, too. Probably the same thing that they talked about, I'm pretty sure. But fun stuff. Fun libertarian baseball. But I just want to jump down to the bottom here and read their I'm sure stunning, I'm sure really edgy and thought-provoking conclusion on this matter. The COVID-19 vaccines are a real miracle of modern medicine. The recipients will still, while still vulnerable to infection, face almost no risk of serious illness or death. People who decline to get vaccinated at this point might not be making a wise decision. Nevertheless, this must be where it gets really spicy. Land the plane, bring it home. Nevertheless, it's themselves and other unvaccinated people that are that they're principally putting at risk. So their big statement is vaccines are amazing. Now, we're not a big fan. Right. We don't love that you're forcing it on people, but vaccines are amazing. Case closed. Dave, your thoughts?
Yep. I hate these people. Again, such a disservice, such a lie to represent us this way in such an insidious way.
Right.
To me, this is that you can't be that stupid. And you're a libertarian authority. You should have, you got a blue check. You should be ashamed of yourself. Everyone should be fucking fired from that place. Shut it down. Shut down your account.
Yeah. Even where I agree with them, it's like, it's such weak messaging. It's so bad. It's like, I agree with them. Like, I'm trying to think of the little bit that I even agree with them on, because it's not much, but, when they say government shouldn't be doing a thing, they flower it up as much as possible to make it as approachable and presentable to the mainstream media as possible. They're doing even less journalism here than CNN, because CNN, I don't love, I hate their opinions most of the time, but at least they have the balls to make up a thing. Reason, like, I don't know. I suppose I'm dogging on a journalist for being a journalist rather than having a strong opinion, but they kind of peppered their opinions in there as well by saying this is completely safe and good vaccine when they're not medical experts.
Right. They just take that as a given. And it's a lot like my and many other people's gripe with the Jorgensen campaign. Like when she would say, the government is too intrusive and too bossy.
Right.
Like that's factual. And you can agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's better to be Shane Hazel and go, it's a murder cult.
Right.
Like that, because if you just gloss over it and you say, well, yeah, it's just these, you could fall into that. And it's just this kind of like, it's just not, it's not accurate enough. It's not enough of a condemnation of what the state is to like, they mean well, or we just shouldn't mandate, but we should get there. It's like, no, that's not how we do it.
Absolutely. Now, speaking, you brought it up. It's the same thing that Dave and Malice talked about. We're just going to do it, but on a lesser quality scale because we've got delays. We're talking over each other, and we're just generally not as good at what they do. But there are some of you that didn't listen to that, and we're going to give you the news, and we're going to talk about it. So this is from The institute, the super professional institute themselves that speak for libertarians, Cato.org. So you know it's legit. This is which they posted this, which means that it's not just one of their guys that went rogue and said something stupid. They're like, he went and said he speaks for us, and we're gonna post this, and they're proud of this. They like this video that we're about to play. If it plays, let's see.
We don't have to accept the mandates. Lockdown.
Okay, there's like a long intro where they're showing all these Republicans who are against the mandates and lockdowns and things as though that's a bad thing. In their lead up to libertarian guy that you've never heard of, Ilya Somin, who speaks for all of us. But they have to throw that in there to make this guy seem like, I don't know, the voice of reason. This is what, no pun intended, actually. The voice of reason for the people, Ilya Somin.
And they're sticking to libertarian values, citing liberty, freedom, personal choice as reasons to oppose just about every measure that could stem the spread of COVID. But the thing is, a lot of actual libertarian legal scholars say vaccine mandates, for example, are actually okay. They're fine. Because you can have personal freedom for yourself, but not at the expense of others. Ilya Somin is a professor of law at Georgia.
It's ironic that that's the go-to. It's like you can have personal freedom for yourself, but not for others. Like you can do anything you want as long as it doesn't hurt other people. But isn't that what we're talking about in the reverse here when you're trying to force vaccines and masks on people?
Alan Dershowitz was trying to make this case a year ago, dude, that you don't have the right to refuse a vaccine that would protect other people. If you don't want to get one that just would protect you, that's fine. Right. But these demon lawyers are trying to make the case that you don't have that right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mason University and an adjunct scholar at the Libertarian Cato Institute. He joins me now. Professor Somin, thanks so much for coming on the show tonight. Explain to our viewers why vaccine mandates, in your view, are not oppression, not authoritarianism, not tyranny, as some self-stuff.
He even sets him up. He's like, here's your chance. Of course, they had the script in advance, and they knew what he was going to say. Otherwise, they wouldn't have
refute
asked
all this stuff.
Right, but they're like, tell us why it's not like tyranny, why it's not this, why it's not all these things that all the libertarians are actually saying right now. But you're the different one. Now you tell us why it's not. As the speaker of libertarians,
libertarians have claimed in recent days.
So. Thank you very much for having me. I think they are a restriction on freedom, but they're a very small one with a very large payoff, not just for the person who gets vaccinated, but for...
We're talking to a guy who literally talks out the side of his mouth when he's speaking. Just pointing that out.
Other people they come into contact with as well, and that makes them very different from other infringements on liberty that are either much larger, as in the case of lockdowns, for example, or where there's little or no benefit except possibly a benefit to the individual himself. So I think vaccines, therefore, are a special case where you get a small infringement on freedom.
This guy's like the broken side of autism. Like you can tell he's got it in there. He's got the autistic liberty in there somewhere, but he's like just got the chromosome like slightly to the left, and it's I don't know. Any thoughts so far, Dave? Other than the ulcer that Ilya Somin is creating on you right now?
Yeah, my thoughts so far is that MSNBC is the home of the CIA. Those guys run the show over there, and that every single libertarian they bring on, like this ass clown or Nick Sarwark or whatever, when he goes on the Scarborough show, they always bring on somebody like this so they can control the narrative. The last thing that they would do is bring on Tom Woods to go, hey, Tom, tell us about what you thought. You made some great charts over the past year. You know what I mean? They would never fucking do that.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious as to the massive following that Ilya Somin has. Had you even heard of this guy before this incident? Or is this his claim to fame?
Never, bro.
Yeah. Shocker.
This is it.
Shocker.
Big moment.
Yeah.
You get the jab, but then you can move on with your life at worst in a day or two. And on the other hand, there's a big payoff in terms of saving lives, whereas there are other kinds of restrictions on liberty which are much more severe and are very different.
So you've done all the reading. You're a scholar. You're a professor. You've done all the reading. You've done the intellect.
You're a scholar. You're a professor. You're a professor. That means you know everything, right? You know
guy.
all the stuff. Yeah.
Heavy lifting. But I do wonder for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly, recklessly, and then pretend it's all about freedom and liberty when, of course, your freedom ends where mine begins.
Dave, any thoughts on that question there, that setup, before we get into his answer?
Yes, I hate this guy too. I'm pretty sure he's from The Intercept, the once great Intercept that Glenn Greenwald set up. He used to work for that publication. I think he was probably one of the guys that shit all over that. And now he's a propaganda spinster on this Spook Central.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hate this guy too. But yeah, I love how he frames the whole thing. Like, you know, it's amazing. Both of these guys are here to sell a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm going to go back and listen to that setup.
And then pretend it's all about...
saying that Republicans are just using libertarianism to be selfish because liberty is selfish is essentially what he's saying. You don't have the right to choose for yourself unless it's something that doesn't affect anything at all in your life in any way. Also, we have the right to go in and do whatever we want to. Like, the idea that I don't have as much say over my body as whoever the fuck Ilya Somin is. Like, but that's selfish of me to not allow this midwit or retard or whatever you want to call him that represents me, apparently, to force my children to be vaccinated. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, they know, dude, they're smart guys. They know that what they're saying, both of them, they know that they're full of shit, but they're using legalese. They're using that language to try and talk down to people and make them believe this.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and it kind of filled me with, like, excitement, like, rage and excitement every time stuff like this comes out. Like, when they talk about, libertarians, even libertarians on the list of people to be concerned about, if we weren't, like, doing something, they wouldn't care. They would go back to not talking about us at all, like when Gary Johnson and Joe Jorgensen ran for president.
Absolutely.
Nobody was really caring. Even the only people that even cared about their flubs are basically libertarians and a couple outsiders. Like, that wasn't even mainstream news. What is mainstream news is, hey, these people are getting a little bit radical here. They're getting a little bit worked up, and now we need to send out these tool bags to represent them. Puppets that we, the MSM, have created. We're going to send these people out to say libertarians even agree with this, or say libertarians are terrorists, like completely painting everything in the wrongest of lights about libertarianism. If we weren't doing something right, they would go back to not caring about us.
Absolutely.
Freedom and liberty when, of course, your freedom ends where mine begins.
People of almost every ideology cite liberty when they think it's convenient to do so. The Republicans you mentioned earlier, none of them are actually libertarians. None of them, not even Rand Paul, actually describe themselves as libertarians. So like many politicians, they will resort to pro-liberty arguments when they think it's politically convenient.
You don't have to be a fucking libertarian to be pro-liberty. I didn't think that was a requirement anymore. He's making it sound like these people aren't even libertarians. They're Republicans. Well, I don't know why they're talking about liberty. Like, it's only us that want freedom of any kind anymore.
Dude, George Mason University, professor of law. This guy is definitely a spook, bro.
Yeah.
He's off the charts. He's there to do the thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think either they or other politicians on either right or left necessarily exemplify libertarianism in any way.
But you do.
It's funny you mentioned Rand Paul. I believe he was named by his father, Congressman Ron Paul, after Ayn Rand, the hero to many libertarians.
He wasn't, was he? I don't think he was. Are you there, Dave?
I think he was. No, I think he was. I thought he was.
Oh, I could be wrong. I thought I heard somewhere that it was after something else. I don't know. Who cares? But, Dave, you keep freezing up. If you want to leave and jump back in again, see if that helps at any point, feel free to.
He does, do the shtick about freedom and liberty. But as you point out, libertarianism, for example, correct me if I'm wrong, is in favor of open borders or fewer restrictions on the freedom of movement. And yet you have people like Ron DeSantis blaming immigrants for the spread of COVID, supporting the building of a wall. How does that fit with libertarianism?
Very poorly. Libertarianism certainly opposes severe restrictions on liberty, and there are a few more severe than migration restrictions, which confine people to lives of poverty and oppression simply because they happen to be born in the wrong place or to the wrong parents. And it's certainly a far more severe restriction in a vaccine mandate. I don't know whether Rand Paul was named after Ayn Rand or not, but he himself describes himself not as libertarian, but as a quote unquote constitutional conservative. So he is not a consistent libertarian, and to his credit, doesn't claim to be.
Who cares? Who cares what he's calling
I'll settle
himself?
out of court right now for a constitutional conservative over this fucking douchebag any day.
Like they're basically playing libertarian inside baseball. Oh, he's not a real libertarian, when clearly neither of them have any idea what libertarianism even is. But they're concerned about whether or not Rand Paul calls himself a libertarian. Who cares? Like, why do we care?
Smear campaign.
Right. Why do we care at all what team he plays for? All we should be caring about is what he's pushing for, and that's the real issue here. That's why they're bashing on Rand Paul. They're not actually smearing him for not being libertarian. They're smearing him for being too libertarian, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. This is almost over.
So,
thank God.
What is your position on mask mandates? Because we talked about vaccine mandates. You said, the infringement is minor and the payoff is big. The other big row, and we played a clip earlier in Tennessee, people losing their minds, screaming about masks. Some people seem to have lost their minds on the right about the idea of putting a mask on their face for a few hours a day to protect their fellow citizens.
Oh, it's so fucking condescending.
Painful, dude. It's fucking painful.
Oh, these people. They're insufferable. These masks that have been proven time and time 1,000 times again to not do anything. They're not willing to just do it. They're killing everyone because of it. Like, just the smugness of these bastards.
A lot of Republican governors got out of the way to ban mask mandates. Where do you stand on that? What is the libertarian position on mask mandates in your view?
I don't know that there's one single consistent libertarian position on.
There is. There is. There absolutely is. Fight me, bro. The libertarian position, of course, is fucking liberty. And liberty isn't, hey, you have to wear a mask if your government decides that there's a virus that is dangerous to you. That has nothing to do with freedom to choose what you do with yourself. Like, that's polar opposite.
But what about if it's a super duper emergency, though, bro? What then?
Well, when you put it that way, if elderly folks, some of them get sick, and some of them die, then there we would make the exception, just shut the entire country down as libertarians and force everybody to get vaccines and wear masks. Obviously. Sure. I mean, there's no bylaws that state our opinion. Like, what is he saying? He's saying there's no real libertarian position on the government mandating things.
He is a servant of the cathedral, bro. Telling you.
I don't care what it is. If the government was mandating people to eat an apple a day to keep the doctor away, I would still be opposed to it. It does not fucking matter. It is, or I wouldn't. Okay, I would be opposed to not apples. It's not because I'm scared of apples. It's because I'm opposed to government tyranny. As somebody who claims to be a libertarian adjunct scholar, I don't know how to say words. I'm not one. You would think he would have a better take on this, but Spook, yes, as you said, this guy is, whether wittingly or not, he is here to serve an agenda, and that is as clear as day.
Do it.
Yep.
But my own view is that mask mandates are very different from vaccine mandates because they're a much more severe imposition on liberty, in that it's not just a jab and then you go on with your life. It's potentially any time you go inside in an indoor public space, you get this pretty severe restriction, which is very painful and annoying for many people, particularly those who wear glasses.
Now, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like he's saying he's against vaccine mandates, right?
Yeah, but just, not too passionately, but he hates the mask thing more?
I'm kind of confused as to his take. It sounded like he hates the mask mandates more than vaccine mandates, but he might have misspoke. Let's watch
public
back.
space, you get this pretty severe restriction, which is very painful and annoying for many people, particularly those who wear glasses or have sensitive face or have other conditions. It also significantly inhibits normal human communication, which both studies.
I think he's saying he hates the mask mandate more.
He's definitely saying that, which is, again, he's a vaccine salesman. You don't want to deal with these things over here, which could probably lead to bad health. You want the vaccine. That's what you need.
Did you hear what his reason for not liking government forcing you to wear masks? Because it's uncomfortable. Isn't that the thing that they just said that they gave like people shit for? They were making fun, talking down to people who don't wear a mask. It's just a mask. And he's like, the mask mandate is worse than vaccine mandates because it's uncomfortable and I don't like it. It's like, pick a lane, man. I'm confused.
This fucking guy.
Yeah.
And common sense show often comes through facial expressions. Moreover, to put it mildly, the evidence that mask mandates actually slow the spread of COVID is much, much weaker than in the case of vaccines. There's much more division among experts over that. So what we have there is a much more severe imposition on liberty for a much smaller payoff than with vaccines. So my view is that if you have the option of vaccination, which we do, and if necessary in some cases you can use vaccine mandates, then that's the option we should pursue rather than more severe impositions on liberty, including mask mandates, lockdowns, migration restrictions, and so on.
So this scholar still hasn't been able to say that even when you're double, triple vaccinated, you can still get it. You can still spread it. You can still end up in the hospital. But maybe there's a less chance of that. But you should, he doesn't care about any of that. Amazing.
Yeah, and so we've got this now in New York. Thank you, Ilya Soman. Thank you for doing the Lord's work and making sure that people in New York are completely screwed. But I think it was Tim Pool who was talking about, he called around to different places in New York, different businesses and stuff, and different health establishments and different things, and was asking them, like, is there any exception to this? And most of them just said no and hung up. Like, they don't even want to talk about it because they're probably sick of hearing about it. But the people in New York, they don't have a way around this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a pre-existing health condition. It doesn't matter if your doctor said it's less healthy for you to take the vaccine and you have a high risk of, like, you're putting yourself in danger. We just talked about it last week or the week before, but did you hear about the Offspring drummer getting kicked out of the band because he wouldn't get the vaccine?
Yes. Again, so very un-punk rock, dude.
So punk. Super punk,
wow.
Yeah. And it was because he had a pre-existing condition. Otherwise, he would have gotten it. So you're asking him to take this medical risk. Like, the medical professional told him it is a risk for you to take this, and you might be putting yourself in danger. Too bad you're not in our band anymore after like 20-some years, or probably more, of being in a band, being brothers together. That this is enough. We're done with you. We're not going to talk to you because you're not willing to risk your life for us. That's where we're at.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me again. Dude, I've heard the opposite, where people have allergies and certain conditions and their doctor has told them not to go get it, so they go get a second opinion from another doctor who will tell, because they've been propagandized so hard that it doesn't matter what my doctor says, I need this thing.
Right.
That's wild.
So they go finding a doctor that will tell them what they want to hear, which is I can get this, be fine, and live happily in society. Like, most people are getting this, let's be honest, it's because of peer pressure. Didn't Dare warn us about this? Don't take drugs from strangers. Bullshit. People are going to be offering you free drugs in the future. There are things that could harm your health, and talk to your doctor, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's where we're at. You're taking drugs offered to you by strangers for free. Not the good kind either. The long-lasting kind.
Oh.
Anyway. So that's where we're at. We've got libertarian scholars coming out saying that vaccine mandates for everyone is a good thing, essentially. It's even better than mask mandates because masks are itchy. I don't want either one, obviously. But just, I don't know, the level of dementia that you have to be at to be like, I don't like either one, but forcing people to get
This
vaccinated.
one's more inconvenient. Yeah. Oh my
right.
God.
Forcing people to get vaccinated is, it's just a prick and then autism for the rest of your life, possibly super blood clots. Nothing too major. Over here, though, I don't like wearing glasses with my mask on.
These things let you go out and have freedom, and those things are just ugly.
Right.
You don't fucking want.
Which by now it should be accepted. And here's the libertarian perspective. I'm just going to speak authoritatively because why not?
Right.
That's what we do. Here's the libertarian perspective. I'm speaking for you now, Ilya Soman, if that is indeed your real, not CIA plant name.
We're on to you.
It's all bullshit. The vaccine doesn't work. The masks don't work. And fuck you. I'm not wearing it. I'm not doing it. Actually, I'm joking. Obviously, I did both those things, and I'm masked right now because nothing means anything anymore. And stay alive. What do you think, Dave? Do you think like I posted something on Twitter the other day that was like possibly, I don't know, the most damaging thing that you could do, the most selfish thing you could do, the most, I don't know, just ugly thing you could do is pushing for vaccine passports. Like you're pushing for things that will be here, not just now. Like it's not just, we can get through the next month if we get a prick in our arm, and then we can go back to normal life. How many times have we been told that we're going back to normal life? I don't know, but it's not just now. Like this is setting precedents that will last long, long into the future that we can't even perceive right now. Like the evil that is going to come out of us relinquishing our power to say what we can or cannot do with our bodies. That has so many implications that are far beyond masks or vaccines or whether or not you get a super blood clot and die. Dave, your thoughts?
Dude, yeah, you really just hit on some really big picture stuff there. But yeah, that is absolutely the end game. If you don't know that our elected officials and technocratic corporate overlords would love to replace the Constitution with comply, then you're not paying attention. So, these people are not here for public health. That should be so obvious to anybody that knows what makes you healthy, which is water and leafy greens and non-GMO shit and getting outside in the sun and, exercising. Nobody ever, the public health department hasn't pushed any of that shit.
Right.
Any of that shit. So that should be a red flag in everybody's face.
And we want you to get healthy, and we're going to give you a Krispy Kreme donut so that you'll get a jab so that you'll be healthy. But we are not going to mention the fact that the people who seem to be, living this thing out pretty easily, people having the best time of it, are the healthy people, the people who are physically fit, the people who are in shape and eating right and shit like that. But, science. Trust the experts. Trust the experts. But, however, when it comes to the people who, are more or less likely to get the vaccination, we know now that people with PhDs are the least likely to get the vaccination. So do we still trust the experts, or are we talking about the wrong experts again?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, but don't trust the government expert. That's what I would say.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that fun stuff. We do need to talk a little bit, at least since it was in the title, about the so the title of this episode I didn't actually put, I don't think, Afghanistan into it. What was it? I don't know. I don't have it pulled up here, but something to the effect of, what was it? What was the fucking title of this show? It's up right now. Let me see. Okay. Here it is. Your children suffered and died for nothing. # never forget. And this isn't just about Afghanistan. And if it stings a little, maybe that's so you'll # never forget that we are putting our children through shit. If your child is 10 right now, 10% of their life has been in this quasi-solitary confinement that the government mandated because your child committed the heinous act of breathing as a human in the United States. So we're talking about children suffering there, and that segues well into the obvious. Children died. Children, our children, their children, everyone's children, old, young, children. They're children of somebody, and they're dead now. And there's no point to it. There's no reason for it. # never forget. Dave, what is your take? What do you know so far about Afghanistan and this stuff? I know it's fairly new news. It hasn't been spanning on for the last 20 some odd years or so. What are your thoughts on where we're at here?
I think, and I've thought, since Trump was still president, that if they thought they could go another 20 years dropping bombs and spending money and making Halliburton and Boeing, Raytheon, all kinds of dollars for another 20, that they probably would. But I think that the psychology only will let you stretch to get so far. So I think that they knew that 20 years, like the public who wasn't paying attention, you and I are obsessed to a certain degree, but most people don't pay attention. But when that 20-year anniversary of 9/11 happens, and you might do a Google and find out that trillions plus interest was spent, and like you said, dude, I think it was like 55,000 Afghanis. It might have been per year. I don't know, dude. A crazy total. Like, they lost a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I know the total amounts of casualties, I think on both sides, was somewhere around 171,000. So.
Okay. This is not
pretty,
talked about.
Pretty decent sized third world country, at least, of our people and their people and everyone's people that were carrying guns, but many that weren't.
Yeah.
Continue.
And I'll say this, man, when people are talking about this, even in our circles, I hear a lot like, oh, they never had a plan. Like, they went in and they never had a plan. They never had an exit strategy.
Right.
And I would say it's like the plan was to drop bombs on primitive people for as long as they could and put the bill on the American taxpayer.
Yeah.
That was the plan. And a couple dozen people, plotted it out, and
so I guess I shouldn't say it was for nothing, because somebody definitely benefited here.
Sure.
Just wasn't any of the citizens, the plebs, the poors of the United States, or the even plebier poors of Afghanistan. None of us got any of this payoff. But
the military-industrial complex, big pharma. I mean, look, 90% of the opium, the Taliban had destroyed that in 2002. And we cranked that back up, man. We got it. We got those numbers back up. We did that.
Yep.
And yeah, dude,
it's good business. Good business.
Sure is. Yeah.
Yeah, and you said people talking about, oh, there was never a strategy, there was never a plan. Then why the fuck were we there? Like, if you didn't have a plan. So I compared this to the Star Wars franchise the other day. It's like, started out with a bang, it was going great at the beginning, had a whole lot of support, everybody was loving it, and then changed hands a couple times. They were like, I don't know. And everybody said, oh, yeah, we're going to finish this thing. Then they got removed or whatever. And then it comes down to the last guy, and he's just this guy. He kind of had a hand in it a few years back and didn't do much.
Can't blame him.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't do much new a couple years ago with Force Awakens, which is Biden, when he was VP for Obama. Didn't do a whole lot, just kind of kept doing the thing. Same old. And then it gets down to it, and the wrap up is finally in J.J. Abrams' hands, and here we are, passing blame on everybody else, blaming everyone for the obvious blunder that this was going to be from the start. Not that Star Wars was going to be an obvious blunder from the start, but with the new, maybe I'm getting too nerdy here, with the sequel trilogy, it was obvious eventually, or at least it started getting real obvious that it wasn't going anywhere, and nobody had a clue how to get out of it, much like this, where they're just like, I guess we'll just go. Yeah. And Biden's taken a lot of flack for this. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, this was the wrong way to go. This is, I think I have Donald Trump's response to this even. Let me pull that up here and we can watch it.
This is the most embarrassing moment in our country's history. It's a military defeat. It's a psychological defeat. Russia, China, Kim Jong-un,
Listen to how simple this man's words are. I know it's been pointed out a million times, but I was reading the transcript of this before I found it. I'm glad I found the audio, but I was reading the transcript, and it sounds like it was written by a fifth grader. And like, the idea that Trump is here to pass judgment on Biden for leaving Afghanistan wrong.
He couldn't resist, dude.
Like, what did you do for 4 years? Like, what was your part in this? You just kept doing the same old thing, but saying that we were going to get out of it, just like Obama did.
Yep.
Everybody, they're all watching this disaster, and they're laughing at us, and they're having a good time. Europe is laughing. Europe has been very tough to deal with. Europe is as bad as China in many ways in terms of trade.
Europe is bad. Europe is laughing. Europe doesn't like
China.
us. And he also drops in, like, if you pay attention to it, he just drops in the buzzwords like, oh, there's this, there's Russia, there's China, there's Putin, there's Kim Jong-un, like just name dropping left and right as many as he can.
Is.
What are people afraid of again? Oh, yeah, it's Putin. And they loved me when I had them scared of Putin.
And in terms of ripping us off on the military, and Europe is watching this, and they are laughing. They're all laughing. It's not funny for us, but it's funny for them. Too bad.
Well,
So badly
it
handled.
certainly
So
is a very serious situation for those people left behind, Mr. President. How
Well,
is
Maria,
it
you don't
possible
take the
that
military
we have
out
tens
first.
of
That's like the
thousands of
captain
people
jumping
there?
off the ship. Maria, you don't take
Yep.
the military
Are
out
they a libertarian podcast? Because they sure
Right.
sound like it, with talking over each other like that. Only that. That's the only similarity. But this woman her face has always bothered me, and her slur, her I guess it's a speech impediment or something, but she's got kind of a sh
She
to,
sure
to her
does.
S's. Yeah, I
You
can't.
take the military out last. This is like the captain jumping off the ship as the ship is sinking, and it's crazy. And he just says, "I'm getting out of here. Just forget the passengers." You take the people up first, and always the Americans first, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but always the Americans first, and then we'll take some people that helped us. But, we can't take hundreds of thousands of people, and then they have their families and this, that, and, these were
You
highly
had
paid
20
people.
years. 20 years. If there was somebody there that you wanted to get out, you had 20 years. Now, did you watch the Biden speech in full?
I did.
Well, so I thought that he made a lot of, I have to give props where it's due. I feel like I agreed with his words in a lot of ways.
Yep.
But what did you think?
I'm kind of with you on that. Like it was delivered well. I agree with leaving, obviously.
Yeah.
And it would be, that's where Donald Trump, again, he's all ego. So he could never go on TV and go, yeah, this was a botched thing from the beginning, and this would look like this no matter who was president. And that's what I was up against. And these, he mentioned the military industrial complex. He should have done that. But instead he did like the thing, like when Obama was president, he was like, yeah, look, he's devaluing the currency and he's debasing everything. And then when he took office, he was like, look how great I have this currency. So he's doing the same thing because he can't avoid that. But dude, this is the thing. This is what I see happening. America doesn't like this by and large because we are the empire, right? So the majority of the people don't know that they're the empire, but they are imperialist.
Right.
I'm reminded, dude, one of the saddest things over the past 20 years I saw was when, I hate to say it, but when Osama bin Laden was killed, like when I saw the reaction in the streets of people fucking partying, like super, it looked like, their team won the Super Bowl or something. Like that's how there's a certain bloodthirst or bloodlust, whatever you want to call it, that America has, and combined with the fact that we don't like losing, we'd much prefer to win. Right? When you combine that, man, I think that the blowback from this, Joe Biden already looks and appears and is physically, mentally, spiritually weak. So this will be easy to capitalize on if you're the military-industrial complex.
Right. And we've got like Dan Crenshaw coming out and condemning the actions of leaving and stuff. Do you think that there was anything that Biden could have done better in this? I mean, as libertarians, we're like, yes, just get him out of there. We don't care how it works or what happens after. There's going to be problems, but just get him the hell out of there. Do you feel like Biden was wrong to leave or to start leaving in the way that he did?
I don't think that he has much say.
Yeah.
But no, I think sooner the better. And, your generals, they're the ones who are really making the calls, man.
Yeah.
So like they might make some recommendations here. We can do, Operation A, B, or C. Which one do you like? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
right.
Yeah. I don't think that he has much to say at all, except, I imagine, dude, do what you're told.
Yeah.
That was probably the plan, to get out, and he's doing what he's told.
Right. Yeah, I'm not giving Biden any credit other than reading off a teleprompter without falling over. That's the best that we could hope from him at this point. But there is a part of me that was like, he's talking to everybody in the entire world, and he's saying things like, we can't be doing regime change, we can't be, we need to get the hell, like things that we've been saying, really good things. Yeah. And I was live tweeting during it. I was like, holy shit, he's actually saying some things that make sense. Who wrote it? Or who's responsible for these things being said, I don't know. But, hey, some things are being said that should be said, because I don't care if you're, just like I don't care if Rand Paul is a Republican or a Democrat or a Libertarian. I don't care what you are. If you're right, then we're going to support you. And, like, that should, I don't know, that should say something to people who are like, oh, you just hate the left wing, whatever. It's like, no, if Biden was right on everything, I would be all for it. I don't care if he's a Democrat or Republican or a Libertarian. But
yeah. We agree with that move.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and of course, the way the media spins it is basically you're either a Democrat who's pro-Taliban right now for supporting Joe Biden's choice to leave, or you're with us, basically. Like, there's no in between. Like, you either wanted us to stay in Afghanistan or you think that the Taliban is great. And I said on Twitter, I was like, well, maybe the Taliban is just, following our example. We've been doing it for 20 years. Like, there was a terrorist organization in Afghanistan that was pillaging and plundering and raping people and murdering people in the streets. And now I guess it's the Taliban's turn. Like, it's not that much different, except they're a little less stable, obviously. I'm not condoning anything that they're doing. All I'm saying is them doing something wrong, them doing evil things, doesn't make our evil things any more palatable. If anything, we should look at that and say, see, that's what we've been doing. Like, see how bad that is when you're saying somebody else is doing it? That is bad, right? Now, imagine if we were doing it for 20 fucking years in your country.
Yeah.
So, lots of fun stuff. The idea that, this has gone on for 20 years, and we're going to condemn it now as we're leaving. As we're leaving, for those that don't know, like, the Taliban basically just swept in and took over everything that we built. Like, this Afghanistan government, this regime that we were trying to create and prop up, is just gone. Like, overnight. The president had to flee the country, and
there's something very satisfying about that, though, isn't there?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I like that part.
Yeah,
the government is just it's in your head. If you don't have faith in it, it's gone. And nobody in that country, even though we'd been there for 20 years, going, no, see that government? That's the legitimate one,
right?
Nobody believed that the whole time.
That is the glass half full of blood approach that you take there. I like it. Yep. There is a chance that somebody could do something and overthrow a government, even if that government happens to be the U.S. government for 20 years. It is possible. Apparently, it's possible really easily. Right. But yeah, the idea that, man, just imagine being somebody who, let's say you sent your son off to die in Afghanistan 10 years ago. Halfway through this, not even. 10 years ago, you sent your son off and he died in Afghanistan. And now 10 years later, it's like, thank God this is, oh, shit. It's back to normal. Right. Like, worse than it was before we got there. We're supposed to be able to go in and create democracy in any country that we please and set it up into this beautiful utopia of democracy. Meanwhile, we're going to, like, our country, we say, is this evil, racist Nazi land where people are burning in the streets and lynching black people, but we are the ones, and our murder force are the ones to go over to other countries where people have different cultures and tell them how they need to live in order to be just as successful and wonderful as us. Like, we don't know how to fix our own fucking country, and we're going to try and start one from scratch and teach people to point a gun to defend themselves from terrorists. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
It's a bit presumptuous, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. For anybody, like the United States or China or anybody. Like, unless you're going to completely occupy and make that part of the United States now, this isn't going to work out, bud. Otherwise, we're just stuck there forever, which happened, and forever is potentially coming to a close. But, I did have this pulled up. I wanted to read a little bit of it to make my point about Trump's very intellectual word choices. It is a mess like nobody has ever seen. It is the most embarrassing moment in our country and our country's history. It is a military defeat. It's a psychological defeat. Like, it's just,
That's actually all true.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with what he's saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's like, it is this, it is that. It's like very juvenile. And then he's like, Russia, China, Kim Jong-un, just dropping some names. Yep. North Korea, everybody, they're all watching this disaster.
Everybody bad is thinking that this is very good.
Yep. They're all laughing. It's not funny for us, but it's funny for them. Too bad. So badly handled. Like, most of his sentences are like 5 words max. It's pretty funny that this man was our leader.
He can communicate to more people that way. That's the sick part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it worked. So what does that say about us?
Yeah.
So we do... I don't know. We could talk about Afghanistan for a long time, but obviously there's way more to discuss, but we'll probably be addressing that at length ad nauseum with Shane Hazel tonight, if that all works out. But Dave, do you have any other thoughts on Afghanistan at this point that will jog my memory into the other things that I intended to say here?
No, man. Just...
Thanks.
No. You haven't heard any cool alien shit coming out of Afghanistan, have you? Because I remember some stuff from back in the day. Any?
No, but that does jog my memory. Go ahead with the alien stuff and what you've heard, because I don't know of any.
I thought maybe 7 or 10 years ago that they were talking. Oh, we found some flight devices and things.
Well, Saddam Hussein had like a space portal or something like that, allegedly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I heard Saddam tried to send Bush like a $250,000 donation when he was running for president in 99 or 2000. And the government like reached back out to like Saddam, was like, if you donate $1 to this campaign or any other American campaign, we will unleash the fury upon your kingdom there. Because
basically something. And then we lost him. Dave, he's gone. Anyway, he'll be back. He'll be back shortly. And there he is. It's Dave Casey, everybody! Yay! Hey, Dave.
That's right. What's up, man? Sorry about that.
It's all good. What were you saying?
Bush. What were we talking about? Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Shit,
aliens.
My ADD
aliens.
is
Saddam
bad.
Hussein.
What's that?
Saddam Hussein. Aliens.
Yeah.
Anything?
So, he tried to send the Bush campaign $250,000, and they told him that if he did, that they would fucking destroy his ass because they already had their project for the new American century all laid out. Couldn't have any money trail.
Yep. Makes sense. Have you contemplated with this Afghanistan thing? Like, there's people falling off the runway and falling like on the airport runway. They're falling from their plane, dying, and people stuck in the landing gear and shit. Like, that's how bad and crazy this is going. Do you think now? Not that is, but like, how do I put this? So I think there's going to be a whole lot of Taliban activity over the next week, and there's a good chance that will cause us to at least keep we got most of them out, but we're going to at least keep a presence there. And somebody passed the idea by me, like, what if this is, fake attacks and stuff, false flag stuff? Any of that on your radar?
Well, sure, man. And, not to sound like too cynical, but yeah, like when you bring a bunch of, I don't know, there's a few hundred men, women, and children on a plane. Like, it's pretty easy to make somebody a patsy for something. You got the anniversary of 9/11 coming up really soon, and Homeland Security is already putting out these ridiculous, I'm sure you've seen them, like anybody who's talking about vaccine passports, or anybody who has questions about an election, or anybody who's got, be on the lookout.
Well, I'm saying, what if some of these Taliban invasions are plants as well? And somebody pointed out, I haven't dug into it too deeply, but somebody pointed out to me that their clothing looks very fresh, very new, almost like costume clothing. So
yeah,
I don't know, something to keep an eye on though, unless you have any insight.
Yeah, I saw somebody post like when all the people were running and the plane was trying to take off and there's people on there. Like somebody said, "Oh, they were waving to the camera, so this is a show." It's like, I don't know. I'm gonna need more than that, man. Like a lot of these people.
I saw a man fall at least like 500 feet to his death.
Right. I mean, what I'm saying is, I think that some of these people are so like, dude, we're talking about like really primitive people, and you're right. If there's really clean clothes, and maybe there's some shifty shit there, but like. The majority of the people who live in Afghanistan don't know what 9/11 is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's a fact on the ground.
Yeah.
So they don't, when they see a big floating, tube maybe taking off that's going to get them, I don't know, like just jump the fuck on.
Yeah.
It's a spaceship for all intents and purposes. I don't know. I don't know what it's like to live that life, but yeah, I'm not convinced that that itself is a false flag or an inside job or stage actors.
Yeah.
But I'm on the lookout though.
Right. Same. Always. That's the main reason I bring it up, is just so people can keep an eye out. Because even with my conspiracy brain, I wasn't even going that route at all in the beginning when this information was coming out, and somebody's just like, I don't know, and I'm like, oh shit, God, okay,
no,
that makes sense. Like I wouldn't be that surprised if at least some of this were instigated by us to keep us there, and by us I mean them, obviously. Them being the powers that be. But I think I have the footage of that fun, fateful joyride that a few Afghanistan people went on. Let's see if I can find that here.
American troops from Afghanistan and gave an update on the worsening situation there. Today's withdrawal did lead to a lot of chaos, as you can see in this video. At least 2 people died when hundreds of Afghans rushed the tarmac, holding on.
So we see 2 dots fall, which are allegedly humans. Could be faked. Not saying it is, but could be pretty easily faked. At the moment, I choose to believe that it is real, because it's very believable also that these people are just wanting to get the hell away from the Taliban, and they saw any chance that they could possibly get. But it almost feels like something out of like a zombie apocalypse movie, where they're taking off and people are clinging to the thing and falling to their death. It seems very Hollywood to me.
Sure did. Yeah.
American military plane as it took off.
American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves.
Tonight, about 100 remaining U.S. Embassy staff have been evacuated to the airport. At least 5,000 U.S. troops, including soldiers from in our area, Fort Bragg, are expected to be on the ground within the next 24 hours.
All right, so there's that.
There's no way, dude, that the people that were running that show didn't know that it would end up like that. So either like I'm sure maybe they didn't tell Biden. That's a possibility that, like, maybe just like let's put it on him.
What difference would it make?
Did. What difference would it exactly, dude? He's there to do a job, sell the thing, read the prompter. But shady.
So it's a weird situation that we have ourselves in, where Biden said the right thing, and I'm really hesitant to agree with him, because I know that it's not really Biden saying that, and more likely it's somebody who has an incentive, even more of an incentive than Biden, for us to remain in Afghanistan. So I'm not counting my Afghani ducks before they hatch or anything, but I don't know. Like, I want to be happy, but I'm feeling uneasy. Like something is about to happen because a fucking politician said something sane for a second, and that makes me go, what are you up to?
It should, dude. It really should make you do that.
What are we missing right now? What are you on? So yeah, and we had. What are we at? Oh, we're pushing 2. Good Lord, much longer than I intended to go, but that is what we do here. I do have to, before we leave, have to talk about one last thing, which is, of course, the Freak of the Week segment. Here we go.
This program was made possible by viewers like you.
Get what you f***ing deserve!
All your days are belong to us.
No one can stop us from enjoying this, so enjoy it! Stop crying!
All right.
I love this show, dude.
Thank you. This is the part of the show where you guys submit stories that you think are stupid and ridiculous that you want to hear us rant about. It has been dour lately. Like, even this show, I feel like there hasn't been nearly as much laughter as there used to be. But it's hard to laugh when children are being like, I don't know, forced to take injections so that they can go to the park, or, bombing other countries and things like that. On the bright side, a plane came back, and we got a few of our people home. That's good. I assume. I don't even know what to believe anymore. But this one comes from, who was this from? This was from Brian Johnson. And I only had like 1 or 2 submissions because I was late at putting this out there. That's on me. But Brian Johnson submitted this one from MSN.com, so you know it's legit. Man intentionally submerges car in river to fill radiator with water. It's okay to laugh. It's fine. Awesome. A man in Washington state has reportedly told the authorities that he intentionally submerged his car in a river so that he could fill up its radiator with water.
Think of all the cars you could fill up.
I bet he was a libertarian. He's like, I can do this myself, bro.
Yeah,
I got this.
right.
I don't have to talk to a professional. It's just water. Emergency crews in the city of Yakima, Washington, responded to calls around 11 a.m. on Tuesday from multiple local residents reporting seeing a blue Chevrolet SUV in the water of the Yakima river, according to local NBC affiliate, blah, blah, blah. Deputies from that county sheriff's office responded to the scene and found the vehicle in the water and the car's owner nearby before emergency crews then towed it back out of the river. Let's get to the quote. I want the quote. Does he say something? According to how stuff works, it is possible to put water into a car's radiator to stop it from overheating. But that it's preferable to add a mixture of coolant and water because plain water can boil before the proper coolant will. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, guys.
So what you have to do is drive your whole car.
No, what you have to do is drive your car into a lake that has not just water but also coolant in it. So start dumping your coolant into water. So yeah, like they're like, that's all they have for the story. It can be helpful to put water in, but don't drive your car into a river. Just a suggestion. I don't know if there's much more to this. Let's see. It's way too long of a story for the information here. Meanwhile, a woman, Emma Lavelle, in somewhere was charged money by Uber after the driver of the rideshare vehicle she was in drove into the Bridgewater Canal waterway after following instructions on his navigation software. Okay, so if survival of the fittest, sorry, Darwin, but if survival of the fittest is the thing, I don't know how America's still around, for one.
Just keep driving.
Yep. The GPS told me to, or somebody told me that putting water in there will help. I don't know. This is just silly nonsense. But Dave, do you have any thoughts on this very important bit of news that we have shared here today?
Yeah, in the future, don't.
Whatever you're thinking about doing, would an idiot do this? And if they would, don't do that thing. Anyway.
That's funny, though. I like that somebody sent you that.
Yes. If you would like to submit your submissions to the Freak of the Week stuff, you can do it anytime throughout the week in case I forget to put out the call, until an hour before like I did today. You can submit them throughout the week at dan@tsidpod.com or hit me up on Twitter, slide them into my DMs. I don't care. However you want to get them to me. You can call 309-716-3818 and all those things. And submit your stories and we'll share a good laugh about them here. Dave, I think you're going to be here next week too. Is that the plan?
That'd be great, dude. Please invite me back.
Absolutely. So, Dave, tell everybody where they can find out about your show that posts way too little and your channel that is way too monetized. Go ahead.
So, yeah, there's nothing. I'm not even going to try and monetize. I've learned my lesson from all the people that, had 100,000 followers and lost it all. It's like I'm not even going to try to do any of that stuff, man. So, yeah, find me on Teespring where you can support me by buying my stuff and my designs. At Dave versus Goliath. Also follow me on Twitter because that's where I'm at most of the time, as Facebook perpetually bans me.
Yes.
And I'm on YouTube and Odyssey under Dave vs Goliath. And we'll be back next week with a new podcast. We were on summer holiday, but we'll be busting that back out next week.
Summer holiday. That must be nice. What are you, a school teacher?
Shit! Don't you put that hex on me.
All right. Well, Dave, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. And to all of you guys, go follow Dave. At Dave V Goliath. You just said it. That's what it is, right? Dave VS Goliath. Dave versus Goliath 1 on Twitter and everywhere else that you can find him. You can follow me at all the things. Dan at tsidpod.com is the electronic hate mail spot. You can send me physical things like COVID vaccinations at P.O. Box 84, Aledo, Illinois 61231. You can join our social network that is barely active at antinewslife.com. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. It didn't exactly go according to plan, but it was a nice safe haven during our banning where we could find each other. We are back on Facebook. Look up TSID is Down Forum. Also, follow me on Twitter at TSIDPod. And most importantly, you can join the Downers Club. You can get all this stuff wherever I get banned from. You will be able to find me and all the links to everything that is still available at thesystemisdown.tv. That is the new website where you can watch everything, you can listen to everything, and you can get all the bonus content. You can sign up for it there or at patreon.com/thesystemisdown. Go join. We've got some new guys that just joined. Thank you guys so much for that. And to the rest of you, be better people. Go out, love your fellow man, and join the Downers Club. I'm not giving medical advice, but if I were you, I'm not, but if I were you, I wouldn't get vaccinated, and I wouldn't let my kids go off to die in wars, because time has proven that things that the government chooses to sacrifice your children in pay off to absolutely dick. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next time, and until then, question everything, stay uncomfortable, be weird, have fun, and we'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out and help us change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. And if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemsdown for bonus episodes of the show every single week. Until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. GoulashMedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.